Good evening and welcome. I'm Sheila Balgobin and I am the Dream Decipherer, and I help you to crack the code of your sleep and dreams so you can sleep sound and dream deep. Well, this evening, new technology and bank accounts are featured. So let's see what's going on. This dream comes in two parts. There's a dream one and dream two. And as always, when dreams are dreamt in close proximity to each other, they're usually connected in some way. So we'll have a look and see exactly what the connections are. In the first dream, the dreamer reports that there was a sudden introduction of some new kind of hologram technology that eliminated many common day-to-day objects. They became obsolete. Now, the dreamers reported that their wife had organized a surprise birthday party. Doesn't specify who the party was for, but the surprise birthday party had all of the decorations and balloons made of holograms. So there were no actual balloons, just holograms. Now, the dreamer's son apparently wanted to defer entering into university because for a year because he wanted to check out this new technology. Then the dreamer reports that a male friend, had showed them how to read a holographic newspaper using a special pair of gloves that had sensors in them. The dreamer reports that there was a sense of urgency and danger for some reason connected with this dream. That's the end of the first dream. The second dream is a one-liner, and it said that the dreamer had a conversation with their bank about a payment of 50 pounds that they had made, which is about $65 or so. And the dream ends there. So let's look at each dream in turn, see what's going on, and then see what connection or possible connection there may be between the two. Now, the first thing I did was a bit of homework and to actually be clear as to what exactly a hologram is, and what the definition is that it's a 3D image that's caused by one laser light disrupting another light beam, causing a 3D image to occur. Now, this technology has been around for a while, but according to this dream, this new technology actually eliminated objects and made them obsolete. Now, my question here for the dreamer is making ordinary objects or even people obsolete a concern somehow? What I mean by that is, does normal reality, for some reason, is a disturbance or intolerable or unwanted in some way? And how does the dreamer feel about that? How does the dreamer feel about this new reality that just eliminates things and basically leaves illusions, something that's not actually there? Now, the balloons and decorations in this dream were holograms. They weren't actually there, but they were projected as being there. I would hate to think that the cake, the cake and food were also holographic images, which so you could only look at them, you couldn't actually eat them. Um, so it, what struck me about this is, well, it's one way of saving money. You don't have to buy balloons, you don't have to buy decorations, you just have them flashed as images around the room. And that begged the question for me, is perhaps is money an issue here in some way or other for the dreamer at this time? Then we get the son who's going to defer going to higher education because they want to wait for the development of this technology to become more embedded. And my question here was, why? Do they think that, they'll have like a virtual university and virtual classes, and a teacher that isn't really there that's teaching them? I mean, what is the reasoning behind deferring education to learn about new technology? Doesn't quite make sense. um and my question to the dreamer specifically is, well, how do you feel about that? Whether this your child is deciding not to go to university simply because they want to wait around for some new technology to become more commonplace. Something odd about that. Then we have the friend, a male friend, who shows the dreamer how to read a holographic newspaper using a special pair of gloves, with sensors in them. Now, what occurred to me with this was you have the old news as opposed to new news, and the idea or the expression handling something with kid gloves. And my question to the dreamer here was, how does reading this new style of newspaper affect the dreamer's life? What does it mean for the dreamer to be able to read something that's not actually there? It's just a bit odd. Now, the dreamer also reports that there's a sense of danger or urgency with this dream. And my question here is, well, why does the dreamer believe that there's some kind of danger associated with this, or that it's an urgent matter that needs to be looked at or attended to? Does the dreamer perhaps feel that their ordinary world is somehow in danger of disappearing in some way? Or is there a point or part of the dreamer's life that is ordinary or normal that the dreamer feels is disappearing somehow and becoming unreal? And does this disappearing act of whatever it is in the dreamer's life causing a sense of danger or urgency? And why could that be? So we'll leave the first dream for a moment and look at the second dream. Now, this is a conversation between the dreamer and someone at their bank about a payment of £50, which works out to about $65 roughly. Now, my first question here is, does the number 50, or specifically £50, have some kind of significance in some way for the dreamer? And what was this payment for? It's not specified. So, but what was this payment about? Is it possible that the dreamer is looking at their life in terms of what they've banked um, over a period of time, perhaps 50 days, 50 months, 50 years, whatever it might be? Now, banked as a word evoked for me the sense of something being saved or put to one side. But it also can mean, a bank can also mean the lake or river's edge. And that's interesting, because banks or water, in this case, a river or lake, can represent the unconscious mind. It was Jung who said that the conscious mind, the part of us that goes I, is like a little island that floats on the ocean of the unconscious. So the unconscious is vast, whereas the conscious part of us that takes in but so much information is actually quite small in comparison. So my question here for the dreamer, is there something that the dreamer has paid for in some way in their life, and now must be discussed or re-examined? and perhaps needing to dig deeper and look into the unconscious thoughts and feelings or things that are driving the dreamer. Now, taking a look at both of these dreams and trying to see what the possible connections might be between the two, because as I said, when dreams are dreamt in close proximity, either the same night or within a few days or even a week of each other, they usually have something to do with one another. So my question here, well, my thought here rather, is that there's something about things that are tangible as opposed to intangible. With the ordinary objects of life, or the chairs and tables of existence, if you will, and the money represent tangible things that you can touch and see and sense in some way. Whereas the intangible is represented by these holograms, which have no substance. They're illusions. They look like they're there, they look real, but they're not. And my question here for the dreamer is there some area or some areas of the dreamer's life where the tangible, i.e., the here and now, the tables and chairs of life, is in the process of disappearing or becoming intangible? Is there an issue that perhaps that's deeply buried in the dreamer's unconscious mind that is disappearing in some way, whether the dreamer is actually conscious of that fact or not? So there's a lot of questions that get thrown up by the juxtaposition of these two dreams, as also is that there's two male figures other than the dreamer, which is the son and the friend. Now, when persons, the people who in dreams aren't necessarily who they are. They're not necessarily themselves, but represent some aspect of the dreamer, him or herself. So it makes me wonder whether these two characters, the son and the friend, represent the dreamer's shadow. Usually the shadow is the same sex as the person dreaming. They may be younger, they may be older, but they represent some kind of unrecognized or unknown or even rejected part of the dreamer. And there's a younger self perhaps being suggested by the son, who wants to defer going to university, or i.e., becoming an adult. And there's the friend who is trying to teach the dreamer something new. So there's something perhaps around that, but the only female personage is the wife. And again, the people in the dreams don't necessarily have to be themselves. They may be, but generally, because the dream comes from a person and is about the person, it usually represents some aspect of themselves. And the female in a male's dream represents the anima, or the inner female, which is about relationship, connectedness, feelings. And I wonder if there's some feelings or relationship that the dreamer is not looking at, or doesn't want to look at, or is rejecting in some way, as represented by these intangible things, that look real, but aren't. They're just illusions. So I ask the question, is there some area in the dreamer's life where the tangible, the here and now, the chairs and tables of life, are in the process of becoming intangible, invisible, illusions? And is there an issue or issues, perhaps deep in the back of the dreamer's mind, that is disappearing in some way? So there's quite a lot, as I said, quite a lot of questions here for the dreamer to look at. And maybe one of these days we'll find out the answer, but I have to wait to see if how the dreamer responds to all of this. There you have it. Future technology and money. And talking about future technology and money, we have these things like bitcoins, which is virtual money, not real money. It's electronic money, which has got the banking industry up in arms. And as a former banker, I'm quite interested in all of that. But there's just something about the world shifting and things becoming less and less physical and more intangible. And maybe it's just that general trend that is of concern to the dreamer. We'll just have to wait and see. And if you happen to have a dream that is got you scratching your head, why don't you contact me and let me help you figure it out? You can have a free consultation, a short mini consultation to give you some tips and clues to help orient you as to what the dream could possibly be saying to you. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Have a great evening and rest of the week, and I'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.